Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome back to Big 12 Insiders. Man, it was a wild weekend of Big 12 basketball. Some good games. Maybe the best game of the entire season in the entire country was in the Big 12 on Saturday. Couple of surprises this weekend. Overall, again, Big 12, just step forward, man. Step forward. It was another great weekend within the conference. We're going to break all of that down for you guys and kind of give you my thoughts. Look, there was controversial game or ending to a game. I'll give you my thoughts on that because it was, to me, it was tacky, but neither here nor there. We'll get to all of it, man. I appreciate you guys showing up and showing out like you always do. Before we get started, remember to like, follow, subscribe. If you haven't already, continue to get in the comments section. Tell me what you like and you don't like, and always hit the notification bell so you know when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. So first thing, tonight, I'm sorry, there's a big game in Lubbock, Texas tonight? Yeah, there is a big game in Lubbock, Texas tonight. Houston goes to Texas Tech. Look, Tech has any chance to win the conference. I'm still not sure that they do, but if they have any dreams of winning, must-win game. Must-win game against Houston. And again, it's going to take somewhat of a collapse for Houston still, even if they lose, for them not to win it. But if Tech wants to win, also, I'd like Tech, if Tech wins the game, I shouldn't say I like them to win it, but if I like Tech, or better yet, Tech needs to get this win so they can get a better seeding in the NCAA tournament. Not that they'll have a bad seeding. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you sweep Houston in the season, people got to pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're going to win the conference. 3 games back, 4 to go. Again, it'll take a collapse by Houston to be able to do that. Having said that, you sweep Houston, you can't help. I mean, can Tech get to the 2 line? You know, a lot of people had Iowa State on the 2 line, Tech on the 3 line. Hell, there was places I saw Tech on the 4 line. Can we bump that up a little bit if you sweep Houston? I would say so. Houston, can you get to the 1 line? If you win out, I think you almost got to put Houston on the 1 line, don't you? So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this basketball game tonight. It's going to be a good one. Lubbock's it's going to be rocking. I cannot wait to see it. Then we got KU going to Colorado. Look, KU looked great on Saturday, but I think we expected that. But that's not the issue here. The issue is the consistency with KU. I think this is kind of the team that we thought, but look out, man. You're going to Colorado. You haven't been consistent. Colorado, again, upset Baylor. Baylor's a pretty good team. Not consistent, but a good team. And so watch out, KU. This could be tricky. Don't let success – I mean, look, I don't think KU should even think about letting success get to their head. They won a game. Okay, great. They won a game at home that they were supposed to win, and they were supposed to blow out Oklahoma State. Now you're going to Colorado. You're going to get their best, you know, and they're riding high with supreme confidence after beating Baylor. So just be careful, KU. Be careful. Now let's get into the action from Saturday and Sunday. Houston beats Iowa State 68-59. LJ Cryer, 28 points. Good game for the most part. But look, we're lying to ourselves if we're not saying that this game got hijacked because Iowa State was without their top 2 scorers. I mean, that's not Houston's fault, you know, so you can't blame them. And they won the game. And it was still a fairly good game, but I think we were expecting more, or would have expected more. I'm not even saying the outcome's going to be different. So I don't want Houston fans getting in here, you know, saying that, I didn't say Iowa State would win. I just say the game got hijacked because their best 2 scorers. Look, you take the best 2 scorers off of anybody's team, they're not going to be as good. Period. End of story. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But it was still a very good game. Now, do I want to see this game again with everybody involved? Absolutely. But it was still a good game. But Houston's really good, man. I mean, you win 19 of 20 basketball games. I don't care who's playing on the other team. I don't care. That's insane. Insane. Houston is very good. And like I mentioned, if Houston can win out, I'm not even talking about the Big 12 tournament. If they can win out the regular season, I think Houston's got a legitimate claim to being on the one line when the NCAA tournament comes around. Excuse me. I think they got a legit claim. They probably have one now, but we'll see how the rest of the season turns out. But I think they got to be on that one line. So moving on, Texas Tech smacked around West Virginia 73-51. Tech probably a little pissed off from the way that they have played recently. And this is also a great tune-up for what we got going on tonight between Houston and Tech. I thought West Virginia, it looked like West Virginia, everything that they had, they used it against Cincinnati. Look, the game was fairly close at halftime, but in the second half, West Virginia looked like they ran out of gas, and Tech literally, they got the lead at the end of the first half, and they put their foot on their throat like a good team is supposed to do, and that's what they did. They just cruised on to victory. Like I said, I think West Virginia used up what they had against Cincinnati to get that win. Tech's really good. Pissed off how they've been playing. Good win. Good tune-up for tonight. And like I mentioned before, I really like this Tech basketball team. Can they get to the two line? I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see, man. Can they get there? It'll be tough, but there's an opportunity. There's plenty of opportunity, and it damn sure isn't because they're not good enough. I mean, that isn't going to be the case. So we'll see what happens the rest of the way. But that's a real good, like I said, tune-up victory for Tech. KU demolishes Oklahoma State. We said they would, and they did. This game was over at halftime. I mean, it was a 29-point game at halftime. KU came out. Now, this is the team that everybody expected us to see from KU. Dominant, played good defense, rebounded the ball well, multiple guys in double figures. You know, this is the team that people thought, okay, this is why they were the preseason number one ranked team. Now, preseason number one, obviously 2020's hindsight, so we can say, you know, it was far-fetched. But if KU plays like this, they can play with anybody. The problem is, can they sustain this? And so far this season, they haven't been able to do that. You have seen them have really good wins, but you've also seen them with some head-scratching losses. But they had lost 2 in a row, didn't look good in either game. They needed this one to get back on track. Now, can they take that on the road to Colorado? We will see about the consistency with the KU Jayhawks. Cincinnati, look, gut-wrenching win. I shouldn't say gut-wrenching because it wasn't down to the wire, but more like a gut check win because I think they got the sails knocked out of them with that close loss at West Virginia earlier in the week. They get a good win, 75-63 over TCU. I think that eliminates TCU from any NCAA talk. Obviously, they can still finish in the upper half of the league. They went out, but I don't think their resume, I don't think they have enough wins to be able to make a real claim. Cincinnati's the same way. Now, they've got some tests coming up. They got Baylor and at Houston. You win those. First of all, you win out, but those are the next two. You win those 2 games, Cincinnati's still got a shot. They probably got to win 2 games in the Big 12 tournament, but I think Cincinnati still got a shot. I think they're there, but they got to finish at 500. And to be able to finish at 500, you got to win out. So I don't think that the tournament is going to allow for a Big 12 team with all the other teams and conferences and what they've got going on. I'm not sure the Big 12 can have somebody that's, I don't know, 8-12 in the conference. I don't think that's going to be able to make it this year. So we'll see what happens. Colorado upsets Baylor. Now, we have said all year long that Colorado first of all, they're well coached. They're not going to stop fighting. They're playing at home. You know, they know how to play basketball. Maybe not the most talented basketball team, but they're going to fight you. And they fought Baylor, and they won. Look, here's the thing with Baylor. The consistency. And again, what other, you know, adjectives / superlatives are you going to give Baylor? Other than, look, you can't continue to play. They basically played 6 guys, you know, at Colorado. First of all, you're going to altitude. So why are you only playing 6 guys? I mean, technically they played 8. I get it. But one guy played 5 minutes, another guy played 9. I mean, come on, man. And you've got other play. I mean, I think you got to play more guys. You got to find. And if they're not that good, then maybe this is just the year that Baylor's just not going to be that good. Okay, fine. We played enough games to be able to say that. But I like Baylor, like I said, but you shoot 36% on the road. They're super talented, but they're just super inconsistent. And this is another game that says the exact same thing. I mean, Baylor has it's going to be all or nothing for them in the tournament. It's either they're going to get whipped in the first round of the tournament and nobody's going to be surprised, or they're going to end up in the Sweet 16 and nobody's going to be surprised. It's crazy what this Baylor team is, but consistency just hasn't been their thing all year, man. And it was saw that again on Saturday. Look, now here we go. This is the game, like I mentioned, may have been the game of the year in the country. It's definitely in the conversation. At least it is for me. Best game of the weekend for sure within this conference or in the country. BYU beats Arizona 96-95. Great basketball game, though. That's the first thing. Great basketball game. Now, both teams shot the lights out. I think it was better offense than was bad defense, but I don't know. You got to be able to keep a team from scoring 90 points against you. I don't care what. In regulation, you got to be able to keep a team from scoring 90 points. That's a lot of points, in a regulation basketball game. So it was good offense. Don't get me wrong, but I think the defense on both teams, the defense, you got to be better than that. You're trying to do some damage in the NCAA tournament. You're not going to be able to give up 90 points and win. That's what I'll say. You're not going to be able to do that. But let's talk about the end of the game. That's what everybody's talking about. I want to talk about it. And I'll give you my preference or my feelings on officiating first. First off, I think we all know officiating has been atrocious, maybe 5 of the last 7 years. It hasn't been good. We all know that. Don't need to go into that. But I am of the belief of a foul is a foul is a foul. Whether it's a foul in the first second of the game or it's a foul in the last second of the game. Okay? I don't believe the mantra of, well, let the players decide at the end of the game. Well, guess what? Players did decide. If you foul somebody at the end of the basketball game, you decided. You committed a foul. So the ref's job is to call the foul. Having said that, Caleb Love foul. That is up for, the interpretation of the and one. I thought it was, but I'm not really mad about it because we've seen so many times where you think it's one and the ref calls it the other way. Or you don't think it's one and the ref calls it the other way. So, I thought it was, but I wasn't really that upset. I just thought, man, they're not giving that to him, but okay, fine. He makes the free throws. They go up 1, could have went up 2. I get it. An extra point in a 1-point game means everything. But having said all of that, I wasn't that upset about it. The call on Richie Saunders at the end of the basketball game, look, that was horrendous. We all know it. Look, BYU fans, you can get mad at me if you want, but you damn well know that was not a foul. And here's the reason why. He's out there pivoting, and he turns and he basically loses his balance and then throws his body into somebody. Look, contact doesn't necessarily mean foul. And I think that's what people get confused a lot of times in basketball, is that because there's contact, it's automatically a foul. That is not how basketball works, okay? Especially when you're off balance. And he was off balance. His defender didn't knock him to the ground. He was off balance. It wasn't a foul. You can't make that call in that situation. Now, again, you just heard me say that a foul is a foul is a foul, whether it's 1 second in the game or 1 second left. You make the call. But if we're all being honest, that just wasn't a foul. It just wasn't. He was off balance, threw up a shot, and it had no chance of going in. And it wasn't because somebody pushed him or was out of position. It was a physical basketball play. What I really would have liked to see is Saunders have his balance and go up through the guy's body. Then, if he gets knocked off balance, then you can call a foul. But not when you're already off balance and then you just throw something up wildly and they bail you out, because that was a bailout. Let's just call it what it was. He got bailed out on a call. but he did have to go make the free throws. And you're down one. I mean, that's about as tough of an environment in the regular season as you're going to get. You're in the McHale Center. You're down one with 2 seconds to go to try to win the basketball game. And he made them. So, it's you have to give the kid credit, but in that situation, it's not about the refs swallowing a whistle. It's about the refs not bailing somebody out. And here's what I would say to BYU fans who are going to be in the comment section criticizing me. That's fine. I get it. But let's just say this is in the NCAA tournament and the shoe is on the other foot. And you get the foul called on you at the end of that game the way that it was, the exact same way. You're lying if you said you would be happy that your season was going to end on a call like that. You're absolutely lying if you said you'd be okay with it, because you wouldn't, I wouldn't, nobody would. It just wasn't a good call. Period. End of story. Now, does that mean that BYU played a bad basketball game? Nope. Does it mean that they didn't deserve to win? Nope. All I'm saying is that was a bad call at the end. Two things can be true. It doesn't have to be what we live in a society where it's always one or the other. No, it doesn't have to be that way. We just make it that way. Two things can be true. BYU deserved to win the game because they played a good game on the road against a real good opponent. But they also got bailed out by a bad call by the official at the end of the game. Period. Two things happened. Two things won. Tommy Lloyd's right. Hey, it was a bad call, but you know what? Think about how many points they gave up on their home court. Can't do that. 96 points at home in regulation? Come on, man. Come on. Like I said, I know it was good offense. You got to be able to find a way to stop people. Both teams. But great basketball game. Hated that it ended the way that it did, but a great basketball game. Arizona State ended a 6-game slide, beating Kansas State, ending all this talk about Kansas State going to the NCAA tournament. It was fun while it lasted for the Wildcats. But look, what did they shoot? 33%, 19% from three with 14 turnovers at home, and you're trying to go, I know you're playing without Coleman Hawkins, but does that mean you can't score the basketball? Does he, if he's not out there, you can't shoot? You can't score? You just got to turn the ball over continuously? They're not a tournament team. They were never a tournament team, basically, since conference season started. They haven't been that. They got on a nice run and made it interesting for a while, but now they've lost 3 straight. They're done. Look, give a ton of credit to Arizona State. I have been crushing Bobby Hurley for his whining and sniveling ways, and for good reason, because he is a whiner and a sniveling type of guy. Having said that, his team could have quit. We saw him quit in previous games. They had, but they didn't in this one. So it's weird. It's like they're fighting back in a game that they had no reason to fight back. K-State had every reason to play as hard as they could to try to win, and it was Arizona State who played better on the road because they're not making the tournament. That's not going to happen. So give the credit to Bobby Hurley. Look, again, two things can be true. He can be a whiny, sniveling, type of guy, and yet his team can still play hard for him in a game that they didn't have to. So kudos to Arizona State for winning that game on the road. And then UCF getting off the snide, ending a 7-game losing streak over Utah. Look, Utah was riding high, had won 2 games in a row, outside chance of possibly making the tournament. They needed to finish strong. That's over. That's all. You're not making the tournament when you lose a game like this down the stretch. It doesn't matter that it's on the road. And yes, it is tough to win in the Big 12 on the road. I think Utah probably already knows that. But you can't, if you're trying to make the tournament and with a late season push, you can't lose this game. Period. End of story. You did. So, well, look, man, like I said, I love this weekend's games. I just did not like the way the Arizona BYU game ended. Refs being involved. Like I said, it's when there's a time and a place for them to be involved, be involved. That just wasn't it. BYU fans, I know you're going to be mad, but should you really be mad? I mean, should you be mad at me for calling out the obvious? We watched the game. You watched the game. That's not a foul. You can't bail somebody out because they're off balance. You just can't. You can't. Having said that, the kids stepped up and made the free throws to win the game. kudos to him. Kevin Young got BYU playing really good basketball. It's a fight to the finish. I think Houston, look, this Houston and Tech game tonight, it's basically an NCAA seeding type of game. I think Tech's value goes way, way up if they can win this game. It'll go way up. Houston is looking to solidify their number one seed. You go on the road and you beat a Tech team, shoot. That means something, man. It just does. So Big 12 still in there. Got a lot of teams that are making a late season push. I want to see a fight to the finish. So I appreciate everybody showing up like you always did. Thank you for all the comments and questions and critiques, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. We will talk to you guys tomorrow, man. You have a good one.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.